Yo, it's that boy Arts here back with another video, and I'm so excited because today, well, I don't know if you guys remember, a couple days ago I streamed on my channel a live draft for a new draft league that I'm in. I know a lot of you guys are interested in my draft league content. Shout out to you guys, by the way, because my last couple draft battles actually got over 100 views, so that's extremely exciting for me. So you guys like that content, I'm gonna keep producing it. But like I was saying, we got a couple days ago we did a live draft on the channel, and today we're here to talk about it. We're gonna talk about what went down, and I have two good friends of mine that I've met within the Pokemon community. And if you guys want to shout yourselves out real quick, we have Bishme, you want to do a little shout out real quick?
Yeah, what's going on is Bishme. From this draft and the last draft with Arts, I got a YouTube channel also. I got a couple videos from the last draft, and I will be posting this draft coming up. I don't know if you guys remember, but I am Arts' last battle in the draft league. I'm pretty sure it was week 9.
Right, that one has over 100 views, so we lit, bro. It was a classic.
Yeah, that's the first one, game 3. But yeah, you guys could check me out. Channel should be in the description if you remember to put it.
Right. That was crazy because in that draft league, my last two opponents was probably actually my toughest opponents, like back to back. Those are actually, like, before your battle, I was like, my battle versus James, I was like, that's the toughest battle I had in the draft league. It's probably not gonna get tougher than that. Then I faced you, and you was the first ever to make me go to a game 3. So I was like, yo, I'm glad it ended what it did, because I probably would have got smoked my next match. Who knows? All right, and we also got my friend Brandon here. Brandon, you want to shout yourself out?
Hey, what's up, guys? Like you said, my name is Brandon. I do Twitch streams and YouTube content at Actually Among Us, and was in the PWD with Arts and Bishop. I uploaded all that content. Gonna upload for this draft league as well, so be on the lookout for that.
Right. So as he said, he's Actually Among Us. So a couple of you guys are probably familiar with him. He just ran that tournament that we participated in this past Saturday. So you guys might be familiar with him. So yeah, this is Brandon, Actually Among Us, and all right, let's get into this. So first up, like I said, we're going to do this team by team, and the first team we're going to look at is actually the commissioner of this league, the Demdil Dragon Knights. He's the one that put this league together. He got us all together, and boom, we here. So we're going to look at his team first, and let's start off by just by looking at his team. Obviously, he drafted a Trick Room team. This is pretty apparent. It took me probably by like his 5th, 6th pick. I was like, wait a minute, this is Trick Room. This is Trick Room.
Yeah, man.
This is Trick Room. He has a G-Max Hatterene. Now, to be honest, I'm not familiar with what G-Max Hatterene does at all. I'm familiar with the standard Hatterene does, but like when it G-Maxes, I'm not sure what his signature move and what's his effect. Are you guys aware?
Yeah, it's G-Max Smite, which
okay.
I'm not sure if the confuses 100%, but that's definitely what it does.
Oh, it confuses opponents.
Yeah.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah. Now that you said that, like looking at his, like I do see like the speed stats are like very low, so like definitely looking like a Trick Room type of thing.
Right, but I also see too, he has a random Darmanitan in there. Now I'm pretty sure that's Galarian Demand. It just says Darmanitan. I'm pretty sure that's Galarian Demand, because when I was looking through the rest of the teams, I didn't see any other Darmanitan. So I'm pretty sure we probably got to talk to him about that. But I'm pretty sure when I looked through like the chat, it said Galarian Darmanitan.
Yeah, he took that first pick of round 2. Actually, I still have my notes from the draft.
Right, that's Galarian, right?
Yeah, that's Galarian.
All right, cool. So we know he has that. Now my thing is, how does that fit into this team? That and the Dracozolt? Because go ahead.
Yeah, actually, when I look at it, like it took me a second longer. You actually pointed it out to me before I noticed that it was a Trick Room team, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, of course, the Hatterene." But what had thrown me off is that and it's kind of towards the top of his like draft on paper. He does have some alternate modes, I guess I would call it.
Right. Like Plan B probably. It's like a Plan B scenario. Well, maybe if Trick Room isn't gonna work, he also could have the choice. What is that? Choice Scarf? I'm not tripping, right? Yeah, Choice Scarf.
Yeah.
Darmanitan sitting in the back as well as well in this league, which I actually really like. There's no dupe item, so he's either gonna run a choice scarfed Dracozolt or Darmanitan. He can't run it on both.
Right. I'm not sure if there's item clause or not.
No, there's item clause. There's item clause. Yeah,
okay,
in the rules,
okay.
there's no dupe items. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how he runs, because as we said, this is a predominantly trick. He has some interesting picks here. Like, this is me personally, I would never choose a Frostmoth on my draft. Like, why is that here? Like, it's gonna run heavy duty boots. I don't
have to.
I don't understand, like, why is there's obviously, I'm not taking shots, but why? I would love to speak to him personally and ask why Frostmoth. Why Frostmoth?
No, I can totally see it.
Really?
In the case where
yeah,
I was making the same point for Blastoise. In the cases Trick Room's not gonna work, those are kind of niche, but they're very potent in the right situation as sweet.
Yeah.
And I mean, Frostmoth's not the fastest thing, but
you're right. But it's also not this, like, it just
Blastoise has access to Shell Smash this generation.
That's insane.
Frostmoth has access to Quiver Dance, and so, like, if he needed to go another route other than Trick Room, he has some sweepers that he could use as alternate win conditions. So his team has some other modes other than just that Trick Room going.
My thing is, with Blastoise, I 100%. Blastoise is actually a beast this generation. Blastoise has always been a beast. But
and Blastoise provides spin support as well.
Yes, Blastoise is really good. And my particular thing about Frostmoth, I feel like I'm killing this mon. My thing about Frost, especially in Draft League, the potential for things like Stealth Rocks is so high. Usually with a Frostmoth, you'll probably want to run something like a Citrus Berry or a berry like a Healing Berry. You're probably going to have to run heavy duty boots on it.
Yeah.
Like, and
every match.
In order to get Frostmoth set up, is going to have to be like the most ideal situation. So to me,
I'm not really trying to compare it, but you wouldn't not run Charizard for that reason,
but
right?
Charizard's base stats is like on a totally different level. Like, Frostmoth doesn't have the stats behind it.
It's all good.
Yeah, but it's not even you know what? I get what you're saying. Under Trick Room, it could be scary. I get what you're saying, because I was about to say.
I feel you though, because the classic strat though, I get your point as well, but I'm just saying that I could see it as an alternate win con, like Plan B.
Right. I see.
And because we all we all know that, like, Volcarona, which was also Quiver Dance, 4 times weak to rocks, you would love to focus that on that, but people are going to run heavy duty boots on it.
Right.
You
just got to see like what he really does with it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, since you put it that way, I kind of see it now. I can see how Frostmoth, we could make it work. All right. Any other thoughts on the team? So I'm seeing things like, because I'm trying to figure out, like, what is something, just by looking at his team, you could say, all right, his team is extremely weak to this, or his team is extremely strong against this. Obviously, Trick Room itself is really strong, but I'm talking about base, like, whether it's like things that is weak against, like typings his team is really weak against. I would say Rock. Rock has the potential to do, because he has a Darmanitan, Rock and Ground. Darmanitan, Dracozolt doesn't want to see Rock. Frostmoth definitely doesn't want to see Rocks. Arachnid doesn't want to see Rocks. Acelgor, it takes, I guess it's pretty decent. Well, Acelgor is what? Is it Bug Steel or Bug?
I think that's the Bug Steel.
Acelgor is the Bug Steel one. Okay, so that could take, I guess, a pretty decent hit. But Rock does seem like it does pretty well against his team, as well as Flying. Flying could do pretty decent as well. His team.
One thing I could see as well.
No, but Acelgor is just the Bug.
It's just Bug. So yeah, his team is weak to Rock. Then, like, his team has a nice Rock weakness.
The Trick Room teams are probably going to have a little bit of trouble against weather teams. Because, like, your advantage just doesn't last as long
as the weather.
Let's say, like, Bishmi's team, he's got a Pelipper with a damp. He gets free reign for longer than you. Trick Room that you have to set, and so it's it's an uphill battle against teams like that. When you start to look at those other modes of winning the game. And now he's just not as dedicated as he could be. Whereas, like, you know, you take a team like Bishme, it may not have that, like, it's not a dual weather team. It's a rain team.
Right.
It's clear every pick belongs in the, and that's great because he's gonna overwhelm people with that in his matches.
Right.
It's obviously, you know, a strong looking team. We'll get to that later.
Right. One thing I probably will say is also this team could be weak to taunt. Like, I'm just saying that based off of my battle with James from the PWD Draft League. James was extremely acceptable to taunt. So if you carry someone with taunt and prevent him from running Trick Room, you could probably do a lot of work against him as well. And another thing, what made James' team so tough to deal with is that James, I swear, every mon had trick, bro. Even teams that, like, you go to Cerebi, look up the moveset, it didn't have it on the moveset, but then you battle him. I'm like, yo, bro. I'm like, I swear, it felt like everything on his team had Trick Room. So that's amazing. Unless I'm tripping, I think the only thing on his team that gets Trick Room is Hatterene. Am I correct?
Maybe Sableye. Okay,
Sableye might get it.
Prankster.
It might, but I don't think I've ever seen this. I don't think it does, because I've run Trick Rooms.
I thought that he picked that as like a fast setter, but I was a little surprised that he picked that in general.
Let's look this up.
No, Selgor does not get it.
Okay, I'm a little, because he added another rock weakness with that pick. I thought that it might have had Trick Room because
I believe his only Trick Room setter is Hatterene.
Well, that's slightly interesting. I mean, I think he wanted to have layers to his team, but in this generation, as James did in the PWD, they've been running more Trick Room setters than in past generations. Like,
right.
He did a great job to draft 3, but in like standard OU or even VGC, 3 Trick Room setters ain't nothing. That's what you run.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The fact that he was allowed to do it was impressive, and he set his team up to where he always made sure Trick Room was set up. So that's what made James basically undefeated in that league, because he knew what he was going for, and he made it possible. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he always made sure his team. Right. All right, well, that's the Demdale Dragon Knights. That's what they're running with. So hopefully you guys get a little insight. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is that even though there's 12 of us, we're only battling 10 others. So I'm actually not facing this team. So good luck.
Oh, you don't got to worry about it.
Well, unless he makes it to playoffs, I believe top. Right. So I might.
I think said top 8, right?
Yeah.
Top 8. All right. Yeah. Cool.
I go against this team.
So that means
7 now.
That means the majority of the league is gonna make it. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting.
Most likely fighting a lot of people.
Right. All right. So moving on to the next team, we have the Pittsburgh Steelix, and they're led by their G-Max Charizard. G-Max Charizard, I'm gonna be honest. Well, I'll get into my team a little bit, but G-Max Charizard was chosen actually a little bit later in the draft, if I could remember correctly.
Yeah.
As was a lot of G-Max. I was actually shocked, and I was really shocked because this allowed me to get my G-Max on my team. A lot of the choices were not for G-Maxes in the early rounds, which I found really interesting. It seemed like a lot of people was going for other things, and then they will look to see what G-Max fit their team, and then they'll choose that.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting.
I was seeing that.
I mean, like knowing I wanted the certain.
Right. I knew which one.
Second, and was like, dang, everything's still available. So I want a different one. I didn't change my mind, but.
Yeah, definitely that possibility.
I had
hold on,
bitch, you breaking up. Hold up, you breaking up a little bit. Is your mic far from you?
So a little bit.
All right. To stop it from breaking up, move it a little bit closer to you. On Discord, when you have your mic far from you, it causes it to like go in and out a lot. So you got to try to move it a little bit closer to you.
All
right. Yeah, you good.
Alright. But yeah, I was saying like a lot of people was going for their S tier picks, I guess because they were afraid that I was looking at the G Maxes and I was like, dang, like a lot of them are still open.
Yeah. Right. So that same thing. That's what made me not go for one so early, because they're going on. Like I said, going into the draft, I have 4 in mind. 2 of them was chosen. So once I seen the second one was chosen, I was like, all right, I got to snag this one up because before this one gets taken too. But I was just holding off as I was seeing them still on the board, which I know is dangerous, but it ended up working out regardless. Like I said, I have 4 in mind. G-Max Charizard was one of the 4, but out of the 4, I can honestly say it was the last one on my list. But we all know this mon is really threatening with that G-Max Wildfire. Not only that, G-Max Wildfire, and he's paired up with... So, actually, now looking at this in close at night, he has a little Sun Team core going, right? He has a little Sun core going with the Charizard, Venusaur, and Ninetales. That could be a little threatening.
Right, he's got some good balance options, too, because he's got Toxapex, he's got Dusclops, which is really tanky. And, you know, they may not go with the Sun thing, but, like, they're going to be able to provide pretty good support. Hitmontop's really, really good support.
Yeah, so on his spinner hazards.
Yeah, his team is absolutely threatening. I think I actually faced this team pretty early, too. But, yeah, what I was saying was the thing about Charizard is, especially if it's solar-powered, if it's in the sun, that G-Max Wildfire could almost KO anything. Even... certain Dynamaxes or right, even certain Dynamaxes, actually a lot of Dynamaxes and or Gigantamaxes, it just straight up KOs them before it gets a chance to do anything. So the fact that that Charizard is actually extremely powerful. Wow. With the Ninetales pairing. He also has my dude Weavile. Weavile was a potential pick of mine. So when he snagged up Weavile, I was a little upset, but it's cool. I think
I did hear you when you was in the stream. Yeah, you're like, oh, Weavile.
Yeah, but
I like this team. This team definitely got some style. It's got good like cores going on.
Right.
And like, I don't know if this is like just a me thing, but I like the way the speed falls where it's a fast team.
Right.
But, you know, he's got his 120. He's got his 110. He's got 100.
He has diversity.
And then he also has his chlorophyll, and it's looking nice. It's looking nice and balanced. But it's looking pretty offensive. But like the way he brings his threats in different ways,
it's extremely offensive.
Like
his only tank seems to be really only the Dusclops. If I'm looking, Venusaur could be built as a tank. Toxapex, that's for damn it. Yeah, Toxapex. I'm not. I don't see. Lucky me. I don't think in the PWD I got to face Toxapex. I don't look forward to facing that mon. I don't. I hate
this
that.
This is actually a team that I don't.
Yeah,
play,
this team. Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. Cool. Yeah, his team. So, who is this? Goose Almighty. Yeah, Goose Almighty. They did a good job. They did a good job putting this one together. I respect the draft. Well, I pretty much respect everyone's draft. Yeah, like I said, everyone did a pretty good job. If you look at people's team, a lot of people have potential to be threatening. So I mean, the more threats there are, the litter the season is going to be. So
better competition.
And with 12 people as opposed to 16 in the PW, the teams are going to be a little more.
Right. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get this started. I cannot wait to get this started. All right, so let's move on to the.
There were no Heatmore picks. No.
There was no Heatmore picks.
Oh yeah.
You know, we weren't digging. We weren't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like absolutely
bad.
Like mean Mon's pick.
Right. All right, so let's move on to the Baltimore Blazikins, led by their G-Max Duraludon. Now, I have mixed feelings about G-Max Duraludon. I really do, to be honest. I think I personally like Dynamax Duraludon better than Gigantamax. What do y'all think about that? Because it's G-Max Depletion is a Steel type move, right?
I think it's the
Or is it Dragon?
One.
Oh, if it's Dragon, that might be
the Dragon one. Yes, the Dragon.
See, now I think I like having the attack drops a little bit more than subtracting PP. That's just me personally.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right. So
that's definitely.
It's kind of the same.
A good point with his type.
Right. It's kind of one of the same situations about G-Max Machamp, where getting the crit boost is nice, but at the same time, boosting his attack is nice as well. So I'm like 50-50 on G-Max Machamp. But Duraludon, I But then again, you can't Dynamax Duraludon anyway, so I guess G-Max Duraludon is a good pick with that. So it's a good pick. So we have that, as well as we see the little Sand Team core going on with this team. Actually, now that I look at it, it kind of reminds me of Max team, yeah, with the Inteleon, Hippowdon, Escadrille core.
Yeah, I know that his first pick was Excadrill, his second pick was Hippowdon, so I was like, yep, Sand.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then Inteleon. And those three monsters actually
too
crutches.
Deep into it, but nice little Sand combo there.
Right. That's threatening. That's always threatening. He has the Decidueye, who's really good, of course. Phalanx is a niche pick, but it's like another one of those mons that if it's set up, you're good to go.
Yeah,
you're good to go. I have like 50-50 results of Phalanx. Sometimes I get it going. Sometimes it's hard to get it going. But once you do get it going, you're lit. Raichu, I believe that's Cantonian Raichu, right? I don't think that's a local Raichu. All right. Yeah. Okay, so that's his electric type coverage. The Gallade and Frostlass. So I'm trying to look at his team and trying to see if there's a outstanding weakness just by looking at it right away. I'm not seeing it. Maybe Ghost. I
mean, he does lack some of the bulk that we've seen in the other team.
He has a Ghost weakness as well.
If you put the pressure on it.
Right.
Bulk's really good in draft, and he does have that Hippowdon. The Duraludon can be pretty bulky, but a lot of his team, if you have something putting pressure on him,
Right. I see what you say. Yeah, his only tanks.
Yeah, you can get the advantage and overwhelm a team.
He has Gardevoir and Gallade. That's interesting.
That is interesting. I just noticed that as well.
Right. So maybe one week if he needs the special attacking variant, he could run Gardevoir. Then next week if he needs a physical attacking variant, he could run Gallade. That's pretty interesting. I mean, like I say, he has a weakness to Ghost, and Dark could hit him pretty hard as well. But I mean, he has a pretty good team. I like it. The Duraludon could be ran bulky offensive. Hippowdon's your tank, obviously. The Decidueye can be ran pretty bulky, especially if you do it set it up the right way. The Decidueye could be a pseudo tank. That's the thing that I worry about most when I look at team. Like, how am I going to break through certain Pokemon? Yeah, that's the thing. The offensive,
especially if they get
right.
That you're not sure if they run in special, defensive, got some HP. Not everybody's trying to break through, so you got to keep that in mind too when you're building.
Right. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one, and you want to introduce this team, Bish?
Oh, yeah. So here's the led by the G-Max Orbital. I actually kind of stole this team from Brandon from the last league. I don't know if you remember. You said Colton should name his team.
Oh yeah, did I come up with that name?
Yeah,
that's a wavy name. I was so mad when I seen that name.
I was so mad. The two New York team thing going on because it's like every sports league, right?
Yeah.
You got the Nets and the Knicks. You got the Jets and the. Yeah, you got the Cinderaces in the Knicks.
When I seen that, I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking of I seen Knicks. I was thinking of something so close to either go Nets or Jets. I was so close to name my team the New York Aqua Jets, but I was like, you know what? I really don't mess with water. Water is not one of my favorite typings. So I was like, let me just stick with my fire. So I just went Cinderace. But I was this close to name with the New York Aqua Jets. That close.
New York Aqua Jets. That's good. But yeah, so other than that, drafting my team, when I first got into competitive, I think the first Gen 8 battle I saw was a rain team. And I was like, yo, this thing is putting in work. I might, build my craft on rain. So I've kind of been doing that, outside of draft leagues. Mm-hmm. So going in, I definitely wanted to go with something I was comfortable with. Right. For the first draft, I actually got to pick because in the PWD, I kind of just picked. But, I did what I could.
It fell into your lap.
So, yeah. But here, you got the bulk with Ferrothorn, Rainsetter, Pelipper. I do have a lot of other tricks up my sleeve, but I don't want to say here. But if you do tune in, I will be doing breakdowns of my team before my battle to give you guys an insight of what I was going for. I want to say that my picks kind of did get taken because I wanted to have Rotomo in the back for like electric support and
Yeah, of
grass,
course you
but
did.
it's Stacy.
Yeah.
And the Mantine, after I seen the way you used it, like I kind of wanted to still.
Yeah, that would have been great in your rain team. Because it does
Yeah,
get water absorb and swift swim. So that would have been huge.
yeah.
Yep. I noticed.
So I was a little upset. I was like, damn.
Right. You didn't mention your Orbeetle too much. You sniped that from me.
Oh yeah. Oh, you were
Orbeetle,
looking forward
like
to
I
that?
said, so I said there was 4 I was going into to draft. Like, say these are definitely one of the 4 I'm choosing from. So one of them was G-Max Charizard, another one of them was Orbeetle. So what was kind of your thought process of taking Orbeetle? How do you think Orbeetle fits into this team?
All right, so what I wanted first was Durant on my team.
Right.
So I wanted like a gravity Durant with a hustle. I know you guys might have seen that.
Right.
So I wanted Orbeetle to set up the gravity and use Durant, but although I don't have Durant, when I set up my gravity now, I get to go a little bit more offensive with the rest of my mons and not have to worry about too much. With
I see.
Ludicolo, I could put on like Blizzard or like even Jolteon outside of the rain, Thunder. And then also like with my Dreadnought, I could throw off a lot of Earthquake. On flying types too, like with against a Corviknight if gravity set up.
Now, one thing too I noticed about your team is though you do have Quagsire, but if you face Dracovish, that rain is going to be boosting his Fish's friends. But at the same time, a lot of your mons, let me look at it. So you have, because I remember the first time I faced the Dracovish, like in Gen 8, and I realized this thing was a threat was the Dracovish was on the field. I had a Ferrothorn, which you have. I had it in my back pocket. I was like, all right, water type. Cool. I'm going to just send out Ferrothorn, and we going to be good, bro. I sent out Ferrothorn without rain. Fish's friend did like half to my Ferrothorn. I was like, what is this? I was like, yo, what is this? I was like, that's when I thought the game was like broken or something. I was like, nah, those counts ain't right. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, nah, that thing is a threat. So, like I said, you don't. Scary. Like things about Dracovish and whatnot, you got to be careful when setting up that rain. But at the same time, your swift swimmers, such as like a Dreadnought, Dreadnought does get swift swim, but it's not G-Max. Do you think you would be able to knock out something like a Dracovish before it hits you in return? Because say if you run a swift swim, you probably will outspeed it. But a Fish's run in the rain, you think you're living that?
He also had the Ludicolo as well.
He does have Ludicolo. I was going to get to each one of those, but Ludicolo is not that bulky of a mon. And now it quad resisted though.
To answer your question, Dreadnought against Dracovish in the rain, I do not think that it would live a Fishish, but maybe like with a little bit of chip, if I get it down, I do see it like being Oko to maybe like a, maybe like after rocks, right. If I hit it, before, definitely not from full though. I don't think I'm gonna Oko that.
Right. I'm just giving.
Well, unless I put some EVs, because I think he has base 8. But you guys could. Well, Brandon, what do you think of my?
Oh, I definitely dig the team. I like how you put. I always love Ludicolo in the rain. That's why I brought that up. It provides a second grass type on top of Ferrothorn, which is safe. And you got the quick thunders coming out with Jolteon. You also stole one of my. I wouldn't really say stole. I guess Claydol is like a Pokemon I always kind of keep in my back pocket as a good draft utility pick, because it's like if you get to a certain point in the draft, you need a little Swiss Army knife of a Pokemon. Claydol is definitely that.
Yeah, and, I actually took that idea from you also. When you used it against me in my battle, I was like, yo, I need this.
He does a lot of different things, and so he's like a good glue to it. Like he can't carry you. He's not got the base stats to carry you like like your Swift swimmers are gonna have to do in back. But he definitely picked up a few kills throughout my PWD season, and he's got access to so many utilities that he can do. Screens, rocks,
spin.
rapid spin. He can run physical. He can run special in offense or defense. He's like a Swiss Army knife Pokemon. So he's great in draft leagues, and that was a pretty awesome pick for you.
I agree.
Yeah, he also got even more utility with the quillfish that can run
spikes. Yep.
So you can lay it on pretty thick if you want to.
Yeah, this team is extremely threatening.
Get webs if you want to go that route.
This team is so looking at this team is obviously it's a rain team, so it's threatening, but he has a lot of things that supports his rain team as well. That, like, for instance, like we said, the crowfish setting up sticky webs. I mean, for the majority of the time, if rain is up, he's gonna outspeed things, anything. But like crowfish setting up toxic spikes, he could set up stealth rocks. He could chip things down enough to where things is not leaving hits from these water types in the rain. So this team is really threatening. So you gotta look at one thing I do notice though. Your team is extremely acceptable to grass types. Now you do have the orbital and you have quillfish, but if the opponent plays nice around that, your team is extremely acceptable. You got two mons that's quad weak to it. So you got to keep that in mind. For instance, if you facing me and I bring Rotom up, all right. So I'm not no spoilers, but like if I'm just saying, if I'm looking at your team, you know Rotom is coming. So you would have to, I don't know, we'll see how it goes for you. What was your reasoning behind Berserker?
All right, so I wanted a steel type. I was looking at Durant, and then I got Durant taken, and so like right after it got taken, it was my turn to pick, and I was like, damn, I'm not sure what to pick. So I kind of just picked up Berserker. I was looking at his stats. I was like, I could do something with it, but don't be surprised if it gets traded for something better.
Right, okay. I think a few of us in the league probably made picks like that, like we picked it in the moment. But there's something definitely that's sitting in free agency that I'm looking at, and maybe depending on how the season goes. I mean, I'm extremely elated with the way my team turned out. But if I absolutely need to make a trade because it's not working, hopefully, I mean, it works out to where I could pick up this mod. All right, Bish. Good job drafting your team. That's a good team right there.
Just the last thing I want to say about the gravity thing is that, you know, if I set up like a toxic spike or spikes with quillfish and gravity is up, you know, like a Rotom will get poisoned and hurt by the spike. So like that was another thing I was looking.
Yeah, see, that's genius. That's genius. Oh man, yeah. So I mean, like I said, the orbital supports your team really well. So all right, we're gonna keep it moving on. So that's Bishme and the New York Knicks kids. Remember, Bishme is that was just Bishme explaining his team to us. So make sure, please, guys, support the bro and drop by his channel, subscribe. But moving on, we got the Brooklyn Barracudas next, and this is probably my first time really analyzing their team. I didn't look at their team at all, so this is all new to me. And I see that they're led by G-Max Gengar, and they also have Corviknight. Now I have bad memories of facing Corviknights in draft leagues before. And I swear it was a lesson learned during that battle with said Corviknight that I will never ever forget. That the
well, this person was also in the PWD.
Yes, they were.
Yes, this
it's Carlos, right? They were. Right. Actually, I did face Carlos, and he was one of my tougher opponents that I faced too. Actually, me and Carlos, we've had battles several times, whether it be in tournaments or whatnot. I'm no John, but I always get the higher end of the stick. I think like a head-to-head matchup is probably like 6-1, something like that, like 6 victories, 1 loss. So I mean, Carlos, his team is scary. Let me just say that, because like I said, this is my first look. He has Mimikyu, Corviknight, G-Max Gengar, Kapuraja, Whimsicott, Lapras. Oh my gosh, Sanduscorch, Manectric. This team is actually really, really well put together. It has a lot of coverage.
Showing a little bit of extra love to the Ghost.
What was that?
I like that style. Okay. Extra love to the Ghosty boys. I like.
Oh yeah.
Two of his big, his most important picks were both Ghost type.
Right, Ghosts are really strong in Gen 8 due to the lack of things like Pursuit or whatnot.
Resist.
So Ghosts are really, really strong this generation. He has that Rhyperior is a tank. He has Lapras, which could be tanky. Sanduscorch. Oh, Sanduscorch. He actually drafted Sanduscorch before. Well, Sanduscorch was on his team, I believe, when he faced.
team.
Yeah, he didn't draft team, but Center Scorch was on his team, and Center Scorch was actually the mon of his that gave me the most issues. So that's annoying to see that he has it once again.
Yeah, because that thing just has a lot of utility. Like I remember in your battle, it had Thunder. Yeah, with the coverage,
it had answers to everything.
Like, and it just turns it into just a bug. Like,
right, and it's pretty bulky too. It's actually really bulky. It definitely could take. When the man team I ran that week, it would definitely, I think it was able to take, his Center Scorch was able to take like 3 skulls from it. So that thing is bulky, man. And then if he hits me with a if he hits me with a Thunder Fang, he was basically one-shotting me. So that mon is threatening. That mon is
this
really,
team is
really
like
threatening.
a really strong, like, you know, pretty fat and strong, stout looking team. But one thing I definitely noticed that it lacked is like elite speed. You know, like something like 120 or something like that. That most teams.
He can set up tailwind. He can set up tailwind with Whimsicott.
But having the speed and being able to get to the speed are different things.
Right. I see what you're saying. Now, one thing is kind of a blessing.
You think he might want to run like a trick room style? I think he ran that. I'm not sure who he ran it against, but I remember in one of his battles he did a trick room. And
Mimikyu gets
like he has the right period, the Caparaja.
And that could work great with.
And especially Drampa. You know, a lot of people sleep, but that thing has 130 spec with
And then doesn't it get the what's the invisibility Berserk?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pretty legit. It's no.
Yeah. So shout out to Carlos and the Brooklyn Bears. Their team is looking pretty threatening. Do I face him? I'm not sure. Like there was some people after I faced them in the PWD, I was like, I don't want to face them in playoffs or whatnot because it was like too stressful. Bishme was one of them. James was another. I was like, I don't want to see these guys in the playoffs. Let me see if I face Carlos. Carlos was another one of them. Let me see. Brooklyn. Let me see if I face Carlos. I do. Matter of fact, I do. I face him right after you, bro. Brandon, I face him right after you. So I face you first and then Carlos. That's annoying. They started my schedule off rough. Wow.
Damn. That's pretty funny because I play in week 7. I play Carlos and then Bishme in week 8.
So
wait, that's not me. I'm over here, but I know I do play them. It's Bishme week 4, Carlos week 5. I was on the one. Yeah, I play them back to back as well.
Oh man, that's tough. Yeah, that's a tough schedule. All right, but moving on to the New England Crawdons led by their G-Max Grimmsnarl. So they got Grimmsnarl, Hydreigon, Crawdon, Galvantula, Bronzong, Machamp, Mr. Mime, Vileplume, Flareon, and Noctowl. That's a pretty interesting team. Now, probably looking just on paper, its hardest hitter is probably the Crawdon or Hydreigon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean, he's got some things that can definitely do some work. But once again, I mean, I don't know if, like I said, when I was talking about the first team, how I liked how it's. But this team is another team that's lacking elites. And
speed,
also,
right.
it doesn't have like a great trick room setter like Mimikyu on the last team.
No, his best option for speed control would be the Galvantula with the webs. So I'm seeing one thing I noticed, like I'm saying, if we face each other, it's gonna be interesting to see our Grimmsnarls go at it because he has the G-Max Grimmsnarl, but when we get to my team, you see that I have the standard Grimmsnarl, but that's gonna be interesting in that head-to-head matchup. That's how I'm trying to think. Like, what's the goal? What would be the goal of this team? Because mean, maybe setting up screens and then going from there. Because like me, I think the win con most weeks would probably be because the screens with Crawdon combination could be scary as well as his Hydreigon. Because if the thing is with Crawdon, it hits so hard that it has so much in its offensive stat that its defenses are low. But if you're able to get that thing set up behind screens, that thing has the potential to be devastating.
Yeah, this team may not have like a specific theme, like Rain or Trick Room or something like that. Balance, some decent cores, and it's like a fairly offense team. Like
Right.
The way that he's able to attack his opponents with this team,
Right,
is like kind of cover all type thing, and
right. I think that
I'm gonna do this.
Right. I think that was kind of my idea going into my draft too, to be honest. I don't think I ever really, when I draft, I don't go, when I get to mines, I'll talk about it. But, shout out to Shade Defeat, by the way, too. He's another, YouTuber. That's, he's the, coach of the New England Cordon. So if you guys want, you guys could check him out too. Seems to be a pretty chill dude. I haven't interacted with him much, but when I have, he does seem to be a pretty chill dude. Like I was saying, I think there's sleep clause in this league. So I'm happy to see that because he does have Val Plume, and Val Plume, if you let it could put everything to sleep with sleep powder. That's how I lost a battle to Shiny Shuriken once. That I had a life orb Weavile.
Slept all your minds without.
I had a life orb Weavile on the field while he had this Val Plume on the field. I'm like, okay, boom. Like, this thing is not living a life orb ice school crash from a Weavile, and sure enough it did. And then he ended up putting my Weavile to sleep, and he ended up beating me because then he started strength sapping everything. So Val Plume is actually one of the most slept on mons, I swear, like, ever.
He slept the whole team.
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying like that's not what I'm. No. He said that's not wholesome. No. Not saying that he slept them. Not saying he put multiple monsters to sleep at once, but like he was able to do it throughout the battle. Is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So my point.
To say, bro, that's savage.
So the point of that story was that Val Plume is not to be taken lightly. That mon could actually carry if you let it with just sleep powder and strength sap alone. So that mon is actually really, really threatening. So this team is actually pretty good.
It looks like his team is kind of weak to hazards, except for like I think Noctowl getting defog. Right. Other than that, nobody could really get rid of
the thing is, how often would he bring Noctowl?
Oh yeah.
Technically, can Bronzong rapid?
Bronzong doesn't learn rapid spin.
No,
he doesn't.
So
he has the screen setters though. That's what I'm saying. Like I think the goal with this team would be set up webs, set up screens, and let Hydreigon and Crawdon sweep. I think that and possibly Machamp as well. I think that would be the goal of this team.
If you wanted to get rid of that, sacrifice at least some of the offense, Hydreigon can learn defog. Not the way he's gonna go. It's probably been knocked out, all right.
Yeah.
And then definitely that Prankster Grimmsnarl, like you said.
Right.
Just having that.
Well, I'm gonna be running Prankster Grimmsnarl probably every week.
He can spread, some Thunder Waves with that too. So that's a little more speed control to go with it.
Yep. All right, but that's
go ahead. Bronzong's a reliable Trick Room user if you wanted to go that.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
Think of that because wanted.
Yeah,
you're right. Hey, but that's
does have it's deceptive with how much depth this team can bring.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The more you analyze it, the more you realize that it's threatening. That's what I'm realizing. All right, but we're gonna move on to the Detroit Decidui, led by Coach Braden. Yeah, Coach Braden, and they're led by their G-Max Flapple. Now, actually, me and Braden was in a separate chat. And we was going to get into some team building with each other. So I can't wait to sit down and do that. But looking at his team, he has some big names with the Aegislash and Rotom Heat for sure. And my boy Gigalith, I wanted that thing. So that's another one of my mons that was sniped. I wanted Gigalith so bad because it's never a bad thing to have weather control. For example, you got things like we seen Bishmi's Rain Team and we seen the Sun Core on I think it was the Pittsburgh Steelix with the Charizard and Ninetales Venusaur. So you always want to have a form of weather control yourself. Unfortunately, I don't really have that. I mean, I could get it by means of Gigantamax and Snorlax and then using something like a Max Flare or things of that nature. But at the moment, that's my only form of weather control. So Gigalith was my definitely my rock type pick. But as you can see here, it got sniped. So that's why, well, when we get to my team, I'll talk about it. That's why I ended up making some of the choices I made. But yeah, so they have the Gigalith, which is a threat, especially in draft format. Rotom Heat is good everywhere. Aegislash is good everywhere. That G-Max Flapple is extremely good with that, with its hustle boosted stats. If that thing gets up a Dragon Dancer too, it could easily be GG. Luckily is good. Luckily is 4 times weak to ice. So if you have something like an Ice Shard or a very bulky ice type, you should be good. But I could easily see Flapple picking up, unless Hustle sabotages it. Unless it gets sabotaged by Hustle, I could easily see this thing picking up many kills this season.
Yeah, and don't sleep on Braviary.
Oh yeah, that's your boy. That's your boy. I be watching your streams.
Yeah, and all three of those. Honestly, I think Vanillix is a little out of place because his Gigantamax is gonna take chip from that hail. But the Malamar, Braviary, they're pretty solid even together.
Right.
They're got good coverage moves. Braviary can come in on a defog and catch a boost with its Defiant ability. They all hit deceptively hard, and like I said, they're like some NU goats. There's some NU down there when you're putting in work in the low tiers.
Right. Don't sleep on a Choice Specs Primarina as well. I ran that back in 7th gen, and Choice Specs Primarina took lives, plenty of lives. So don't sleep on that as well.
I one-hit KO a Grimmsnarl on my stream last week.
Yeah.
Protect with Primarina.
Yeah, man. Primarina hits like a truck.
And I wiped them away. I've never even seen that before.
That's scary, man.
Yeah, so don't sleep on that.
+1, but Primarina hits hard.
Yeah. Yep, it really, really does. It because its special attack is really high. And then like the moves it gets, like Moonblast is gonna hit extremely hard. This thing's coverage is amazing too. It gets Moonblast, it gets Energy Ball, it gets obviously the stab border type moves, it gets things like Psychic. So this thing has nice coverage. So like I said, you throw a Choice Specs on that thing and you sending out super effective hits. It's one shot and everything. So Primarina is not to be slept on. This team is actually really, really cool. One thing I'm noticing about these teams though is speed. I guess that's just 8th gen in general. Speed is lacking. You get what I'm saying?
This team can take a hit really well.
It can.
So I do see that when I look at this team, but this team can take outstanding well. They just Flash. I don't have to speak on that, or Rotom, how well they can take hits. Gigalith's a great physical defensive, and Malamar and Braviary both have options to go that route too. They can either be slightly defensive themselves, just bulky enough to be like bulky offense, like this team kind of seems to be.
Right.
Or, you can use like bulk up and my tongue with Malamar's contrary. You use it to set up its attack and defense.
Yeah. So this.
Superpower, right?
Superpower. Yeah. So you can use things like that, and this team takes a hit really.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, it really, really does. It has bulk to it. It has bulk. Let me see, because now that at closer, observation, Vanillix is a special attacker, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see the balance between physical and special. No, they do have a pretty good balance. They do. Because when I glanced, I would
just be concerned to put up hail with Flap. I just wouldn't want that hail floating around.
You saying that's why? Right. That's why you were saying Vanillix is out of place.
Yeah, I was just like, well, that's weird. That
but
Apple's not gonna like it if you had to pivot into that.
He's not, but at the same time it's hail, so I don't think it works like Stealth Rocks, does it? Where like how, for instance, Charizard would lose half of its health because of Stealth Rocks. It's not going to lose like more health than any other Pokemon would. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, like,
hail ice based damage.
right? It's just because like, for instance,
No,
you know,
I think the chip is ice.
You think it is? You think he loses more because he's quad weak to ice?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
Interesting.
It's been a while
I didn't know that.
Let's look back. But because have that many additional effects.
Wow, if
And
that's the
I
case,
think
then
what
you're
it
100% right.
Yeah, I think what it gets is type-based damage between turns. So Pokemon weak to hail take more, and Pokemon that resist ice
less.
they take.
Wow.
And also your blizzards won't.
Right. So that's interesting. I'm glad you pointed that out.
I don't know if it's just blizzard, because I know in rain it's just it's not all electric type moves. I don't know if it's just, but obviously that's the most common use.
Right.
Your blizzard.
Right. That's. Thank you for pointing that out, man. Because I swear I didn't know that. That's nice. I thought it was just like base damage from the hail. All right, that's good to know. All right, cool. So moving on to so that's that's Brayden, the Detroit Decidueye. So now we're gonna move on to the Bonita Boat Beaks, led by DND New. And so here's that Dracovish we was talking about. So I believe they had the very first pick, right? And it was they chose that Dracovish, right? So they chose that Dracovish. They also have G-Max Corviknight. Now Corviknight, me particularly, I like standard Corviknight more. The G-Max Corviknight is cool. It like puts spikes on the field, right?
No, it get rid. It's like a defog.
It's like defog. Oh, so that's good. But me personally, I like the standard Corviknight better. The Airstream to boost that. You get its boost up with either. I like usually running the bulk up set, and then I D-Max Airstream to then get the speed up, so then it becomes like a legit sweeper. But Corviknight is threatening in general.
In my opinion, on that Corviknight G, having such a like, it's not only reliable, it's getting rid of hazard and stuff, right? And it allows him to kind of like focus on more, because you look at like the depth of this team, he's got a real balanced core based team. Like, he's got the water fairy or the water fire grass core that's like real strong. He's got a really strong dragon and a really strong steel with a fairy pivot in the back that's bulky.
Wow.
So he's
you're right. You're right.
One of those cover all approaches, and it's done. It's in a very balanced way. He's got them singles players course going on.
Yeah, he really does.
Like with the Durant and the Dracovish, she has that more Pico. You can't sleep on that from David.
Yeah, most
I'm
definitely.
not sure if you guys played against him, but that thing could put in work if people are sleeping.
Right. And he doesn't have a lot of redundancy in his typing, and like where he does have 2 steals, Durant is 4 times weak to fire, but he's got 2 great resists in Dracovish and Wishcat. As well as he has a wonderful special defense wall in Aromatisse, and a wonderful physically defensive wall in Galarian Corsola. Very bad.
This team is really solid. It's really, really solid. And you know what? Now since we look through the Mons, I'm seeing that G-Max Corviknight could be really huge for him, because he doesn't have a defogger, does he? He doesn't.
Yeah, he seemed to like kind of focus on point.
Right. So now that G-Max,
all right, I got that. I'm good.
Right. So that G-Max move now from Corviknight is actually really solid on this team. So shout out to D&D Noob and putting this team together. This one looks really solid. But moving on, we got the future champions of the BSL, the New York City Cinderace. All right, so we're led by the Cinderace, not the G-Max Logs. We're led by Cinderace. So as I was saying earlier, going into my draft, I spoke to Bishme about it before the draft. Going in, I really didn't have a plan, because I didn't want to have something set on paper and then possibly get sniped. And like I said, this is my first time I've ever sat down to do a draft, so that's probably not the right way to do things. But I don't think it turned out that bad. So I didn't come in with a plan. My plan of attack was to have other people pick and then see what's left and then form strategy out of there. So as I said earlier, I had 4 G Maxes in mind. The 4 G Maxes being G Max Orbital, G Max Lapras, G Max Snorlax, or G Max Charizard. I ranked Charizard being the least most impactful out of the 4. So my 3 top that I wanted was either Lapras, Orbital, or Snorlax. By the time I chose my G Max, both Lapras and Orbital were chosen. So that's how I landed on my Snorlax, which I'm not mad at all. And actually, I think it fits really well with my team. It does give me some fighting weaknesses because I do have the Rhydon as well and Avalugg, and so that makes both of my tanks, like my defensive tanks, weak to fighting, which I'm not too happy about. But I doubt I'll bring both of them at the same time ever. If anything too, if I ever need another defensive tank, I could bring Dual Blade, which is totally immune to fighting too. So that's why I don't mind it too much, but at the same time it did concern me a little bit. So we have the Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl was my 3rd pick, I believe, actually, and that's because we want to set up screens, and the prankster ability as well as Grimmsnarl Move Pool allows this mon to do so much. It might be a top 5 mon in draft league format because of how versatile it is. You could run this thing offensive, you could run it defensive, you could run it as a screen setter. It just does so much, and you could throw your opponent off from week to week. Then of course we had no choice but to draft. This was my first pick, the Cinderace. He definitely had to beat the team. He's going for MVP this season. I'm saying it right now. Even I gotta force some kills on this mon, he's going for MVP. And then some of the other picks, Bishme pointed out during the draft that 4 out of the 6 mons on my team I also have on my PWD team. I think that was just because of familiarity. I was comfortable using these mons.
Yeah, it's good to use what you know.
Right. I was comfortable using them.
Go ahead. Those are the Pokemon that you know how many ways you can bring it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So some Pokemon you might have had on a team one time with one set and be like, oh, I remember that was good. Right. But then you got your favorites that you can do what you.
Right. So I have the Rotom Mow, Dual Blade, Mantine, and Passimian. Those 4 were on my PWD drafting as well. And to be honest, throughout the entire season, if I don't count Gigalith because it's not on my team this time, but these 4 mons probably put in the most work for me. Even if on paper they didn't rack up kills, but the amount of pressure they put on my opponent's team and just that Rotom Mow, Mantine core, it just. Throughout the season, it just walled out so much for me that I was like, all right, these mons are still available. I got to pick them up again now.
That's the next level of that singles player's dream that I was talking. We were talking about those 3 mon cores where you go fire, water, grass. But when you got grass, electric, and water flying, that's a 2 mon. That's the next level right there.
Yeah, man, that's just so much.
And Toxapex right there.
Yeah, for real. Now, my last pick was Passimian. I'm not mad about him because, as I said, that mon put in so much work for me in the past. I know it's going to do the same thing again. But Passimian originally wasn't on my list at this point in the draft until the coach of the Atlanta Sables, Brandon, he took Beware. And I want to Beware for many different reasons. Maybe Brandon could explain why Beware is such a great pick later on once we get to his team. But I definitely want to be wearing that left side. But since he was taken, I was like, you know what, boom. Let me take Passimian because I know what this thing's capable of. Rhydon could be ran. You could run Eviolite Rhydon where it just becomes a super tank. Or you could run it very offensive. And offensive Rhydon is actually, Rhydon, right. Rhydon is actually could be ran. You could run it as support, as Brandon said. You could run it defensive. You could run it offensive with what's the name of that move? Rock Polish, where it gains double speed and you could sweep out from there. Swords Dance it gets. Avalugg is one of the best based off of just like raw base stats alone. Avalugg is probably one of the tankiest defensive mons in the game. It does have weaknesses.
It just has the potential to be able to switch in for free on electric attack, which like you don't want your man team to
right.
Northern it doesn't want electric attack. It may not be weak to it, but it doesn't want.
I'm glad you're saying this. Because actually, like I said, I'm already prepped for our battle. And one thing I took into consideration was your G-Max is Toxtricity. So without going into your team too much before we get there, I know for a fact you're probably bringing that. So I did plan for that. I'm gonna just say, but looking at my team, Toxtricity does put in a lot of work against my team. So yeah, it does. So I kept that in mind when I was team building. So I'm gonna say there were certain mons that I brought to every single battle in the PWD. And this is going to be the first time I won't bring them to battle in the draft league format. So you're going to see something a little different from me this time. And it's all because of the Toxtricity that the Atlanta Salvo's carrying. But yeah, basically, like I said, some of these mons were chosen based off familiarity, but they just work together. They work like the synergies together so good. One of my biggest issues I had with my PWD team is that I did have a fire type. It was Colossal, but Colossal is so situational is that most of the time I realized I would never get it to work. So that was one of my biggest issues with PWD. I didn't have a good fire type, so I made sure I grabbed one of the strongest, if not the strongest fire type in this generation at the moment. And then we went from there. So I believe that this team, we went, our record was really good in PWD. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to do better because I have a lot more coverage of what thing I could do. Like, with you realize, okay, fire is good, but you realize how good fire actually is when you don't have it. So I'm so happy to have fire this time.
You gotta face down that strength of schedule though, because you got that week 1 matchup.
It's tough. It's
then
tough.
Late
it's gonna be
season,
tough. It's gonna be tough.
You got Bishop trying to play spoiler on you week 9. You might just slip. You got that strength of schedule to go. The team's good, but it's ain't nobody tough. Too good.
That's one thing I know. Like we pointed this out. Everybody's team in this draft is really, really good. So it's gonna be fun this season. All right, but that's enough about my team. Let's keep it pushing to the Cleveland Cloisters. Yes, the Cleveland Cloisters, led by their G-Max Caparaja. I also see that they have Dragapult, Togekiss, Obstacle. Wait, I didn't realize their team was this good. Hold up. Caparaja, Dragapult, Togekiss.
The Cleveland team. I'm from Ohio. I'm from the Cleveland area. Ohio.
Okay.
I did the Cleveland Cavaliers one.
Oh, that's fire. That's fire. That's fire.
Cool. We had LeBron at the time. We had LeBron at the time.
That's funny. But hold up. They got Caparaja, G-Max, Dragapult, Togekiss, Obstagoon. Shout out to Obstagoon, PWD team. That mom puts in work. Obstagoon, Vaporeon, Goodra,
no doubt.
Gerda could be interesting, especially if you throw a Violet. Yeah,
sleep on that pick. That's
for
another
sure.
NU soldier right there.
Yeah,
that's
for
an
sure.
agent.
Yeah, they got the Charizard, the Gastrodon, the Gastrodon, and the Eldegoss as well. So this team is pretty. What are your thoughts on this team?
Oh, I definitely like this team. It's got one of my favorites, Dragapult in it, and the G-Max Caparaja is definitely going to be a threat as well. The team top to bottom just looks.
Yeah, it's really, really strong. It's really strong.
Yeah, like
great C-tier picks.
Yeah, actually, I don't think like any of his mons are like, he just picked it for whatever. It looks like everything on his team has something to do and could bring something to every battle, especially with that Dragapult. A million different sets,
Oh yeah,
it looks
for sure. He has the water absorb on the Gastrodon.
It's not going to be the easiest team to take off hazards with. I mean, Eldegoss can get rapid spin and a couple of defoggers here and there, but like the hazard control that he does have, it's going to be difficult to get off. You got to be in the right situation, like to get a rapid spin off with Eldegoss. You can't just do that.
Yeah,
it's not Excadrill. You can't just.
Right. Togekiss. I'm thankful that we know he can't Dynamax Togekiss because even without Togekiss with weakness policy is going to be an issue. Bulky Togekiss is going to be that Serene Grace is going to be Very annoying. I actually was thinking about drafting Togekiss too. I like to run a trolley Togekiss set with Thunder Wave, and then you just air slash to try to go for the power flinch every turn. So I would have been getting so many people mad with that strategy, but thankfully it ain't coming to my hands because that's what I had to deal with if it came into my hands. But I like this team. He has 2 water absorbmons actually with the Gastrodon and the Vaporeon. Goodra is, we know how good Goodra is. So yeah, this team is pretty solid. That Dragapult obviously is probably going to be an MVP running. Probably. So this team is solid.
Goodra could run Sap Sipper support.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, Vaporeon as well. So he's got some great immunity.
Did you battle
types, ghost, normal type,
yeah,
water absorb, Sap Sip.
Yeah,
he's got some immunities going on.
Speaking on Goodra with Sap Sipper, did any of you guys battle David throughout the season?
I did.
I think you did, right? Right. He didn't bring. Okay. One thing I told it, because so many people sleep on this set. I run a Goodra with a choice band, and I'm more like, why do you do that? It's because, especially if I know I'm facing someone that, like, for instance, Ferrothorn or whatnot. So I throw choice band on Goodra with max attack. If they go for the leaf seed and you send out Goodra on that leaf seed, it's going to boost his attack stat another stage. And then Goodra could actually become a sweeper at that point. I've swept so many teams with choice band Goodra. And a lot of people think I'm silly for that.
Some people give a shrug at Sap Sipper is because, like, grass typing is not the most offensive typing.
It's not. It's not.
But you can Sap Sipper a leech seed or a sleep powder or spore,
right,
wherever.
Exactly. Like, if you know that is coming, and you could prepare for that, that is awesome. All right, so shout out to the Cleveland Cloisters and Elemental. Right, I thought at first when I seen this name, I thought this was Ryan from the PWD. I was like, is this my chance at revenge? Because I was like so confident with the team that I currently have. I was like, wait a minute, now we a little bit more on an even playing field with team.
The battle.
All right, but yo, Ashley Mungus, you up, bro? Go ahead, introduce your team, bro.
Yes. So the next team is my team, the Atlanta Sable. I chose the same name from the PWD.
It's a fire name, by the way. Yeah, I like that name.
Sable is probably my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon. Right. I just fell in love with it as soon as I seen the starters drop. I was like, well, I know. But, you know, I'm from low in the Tennessee area, right up by, like, also one of the closest big cities too. But anyway, to get to the team, I started my draft. I did come in with a plan. I started kind of wanting to base my team on things that I've used this generation and were more where I wasn't comfortable. Out of the stuff, I mean, I wasn't. Newmont, we started drafting that league from the rip. Like, I was like drafting things that I wanted to try.
Right.
In some cases. But with this one, you know, the game's been out for five months now, and I know, you know, what I'm comfortable with, and a lot of the stuff, of course, is going to come from past knowledge. So the basis of my draft kind of from one of my teams that I was recently running. So that's where you see, like, the Ninetales and the Toxtricity. They were both big centers of that team, as well as support for, like, a Veil team with, like, webs and hazard support, to where basically is you know, you can run a lot of, you know, offense that's
Hold on 1 second. Brandon, you know, 1 second, bro. Move a little bit closer to your mic because you're breaking up on my end.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, much better.
Support with Veil and Web, Rocks, all that 2 Pokemon can provide. You can run a lot of other things that's a little more conditional, like Toxtricity is a decent example because it, you know, is extremely weak to ground types, but you get it in on the right situation, especially behind a Veil where another kind of hit, because it probably still doesn't want to take ground.
Not at all.
Not at all. It setting off, maybe get a shift and once it gets a shift gear
that's
up,
threatening.
it's pretty good even. Right. But I also, I drafted Komodo first, even though I knew that I was going to kind of go that Alolan Ninetales route, because I felt like it was like a versatile, threatening Pokemon that like every week nobody's going to really know what I'm going to do.
Right.
Defensive. It could be physical. Whatever I need it to be in a certain matchup. And so I thought that was a great plus with the pretty unique typing, fighting, and Veil support. I just thought that was going to be a sick combo.
Right.
Then I wanted to, as I've been talking about everybody else's team, you got to have good core.
Yeah, I like your core.
Dragon, Fairy Steel core with the Bishop, Dark Resist. Like the whole top of my team is pretty good against that, so it allowed me to run things like Trevenant and Swoobat down later in the draft when I needed, more situational, less reliable. Honestly, one pick that just like kind of fell into my lap mode. I was drafting. I had kind of got those first four Pokemon that I was, planning to grab, and I seen that it was available at B tier, and I was like, well, this is just too good not to take.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking about grabbing that too, but I picked Jolteon, and then I was like, man, I was looking forward to that Seismitoad, but it definitely,
I was shocked that you didn't take it.
Is a good pick. But I was like, I got, a little, I could work around not having a Seismitoad. I know it could definitely come in handy, use that quite a bit. And I have seen like a lot of different sets, like you said with the Como. It could be defensive, special attacking, physically attacking. You definitely got that War Absorb. So I'm looking forward to see what you do with that pick, as well as the Arc.
No, that Arcanine is lovely
because it's another Pokemon that is gonna make my opponents wonder each week.
Right,
what exactly
right.
is he gonna
that
do
Pokemon
with
is
this?
lovely.
He gonna run it. I can do everything from Choice Band to Rocky Helmet with Arcanine. So
facts.
It also has that sweet speed tier. It's got the 90 where I got the 109 with Ninetales and the 114 with Swoobat. So it's sitting nice.
And Intimidate.
What do I need to outspeed? What do I need to outspeed game each week? And it's got Intimidate. It's got Flash Fire if I need to go that route. Although I've got a great fire pivot in Seismitoad. But like B is a great pick, but one of its only weak pivot into a fire.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because I was gonna make sure we touch that subject. That's what I want to. Why did you take that? Why did you snipe Beware from me? That's what I'm here for. Why did you snipe that from me?
Well, you want to know the truth of the matter is I didn't mean to do it, but it was another one of those situations where like this is less like Seismitoad, where it was like, well, this is just by far the best Pokemon available in my opinion. But with Beware, we're getting late in the draft and looking for those Pokemon that glue together and fill out our team. I just took Swoobat because I needed something that wasn't on the ground.
Okay.
A lot of my Pokemon don't want to be taking ground, so I needed at least one ground immunity somewhere along my. Plus, it does fit that theme of like a Pokemon that might be able to set up in the right situation.
Right,
and with the great support that I have, that situation is more likely to happen. And then with Beware, it also fits the same theme. It's got an ability that against certain teams, well, you're gonna have a hard time taking a Beware off of the board.
Exactly.
Especially if you try to take it out the wrong way, then a turn or two that you give Beware, he's gonna, he might be deceptively invested in defense or HP,
right.
and behind Aurora Vale, be able to set up a sub.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because you mentioned that before.
To be perfectly honest, we've seen it in the PWD with the player that went undefeated.
Yep.
And I've played, and I don't know Ryan personally, but I guess Ryan must be just active in draft leagues, because he's been in a lot of the same draft leagues that I've been in, and I've played against him. This is the only times that I haven't had to deal with Ryan throughout the season. I mean, he seems to be like pretty active in draft leagues, but this is a Ryan tech, and he got a lot of with Beware. So when I seen it there, I was like, well, with the support that I might be able to do the same.
Yeah, definitely a strong pick with
Beware. That Beware tech that you were talking about, though, with the substitute, I definitely kept that in mind while team building. And luckily, there's some mons on my team that actually, you're probably going to realize too when you do your team build, there's some mons on my team that actually could deal with that set in particular. So I was excited about that.
Well, you definitely wouldn't say that your team is one of those cases where they don't have a reliable. But if you see that, if I were to see that in a matchup, then you know, Beware can get really out of control.
That's exactly why I wanted it, but you took it. All right, but we got to get up out of here in a bit, so let's move on to our last team, which is the Nashville Slashers. The Nashville Slashers, led by Canto Critic. Shout out to him. He's also another YouTuber. I actually started checking out his content last night. He's a pretty funny dude, so if you guys want to check that out as well, stop by. All right. But they have G-Max Lapras, which obviously I said earlier was one of the high tier G-Max picks on my list, but they scooped it up, which is really good for them. That Warrior sets up with his G-Max. What's the name of the move? G-Max.
Resonant.
Yeah.
Sets up
the Warrior. So that's extremely strong.
That's got to be the best one.
Right. That's extremely strong. We have the Cinevore, which is really strong. Rotom Wash, obviously. Rotom in general is just amazing. We got Haxorus, who, me personally, I really, really fear that mon, because I run a Haxorus. I know just how scary it could be, and I've gone against Haxorus. That mon is actually extremely scary.
Yeah, great finisher. Always.
Yes.
Yeah, great finisher.
The Roserade.
Even Choice Band.
Yes, great. Yes. So looking at this team, they got the Roserade, the Golurk, the Scrafty, the Mr. Rhyme, and Togedemaru. It's just a really, really solid team they put together here. It's just I actually watched. I watched their draft league, because they actually live streamed the draft as well. So that's actually the video I was checking out last night. And when they was putting the team together, it was actually pretty funny. So the way they came about picking some of these mons is actually pretty funny. But looking at the team, it's really, really strong.
Yeah, I've faced these guys for my week one, so I've run up and down their team also quite a bit. And I don't know, when are you posting this? Before week one? I don't want him to kind of get my.
It depends, because to be honest, I wanted to have it up by tomorrow, but the length of this video, when this is gonna come down to editing it, and rendering it, things that there's no way it's going up tomorrow. So it's probably gonna be up by Tuesday or Wednesday.
I definitely seen he has a little bit of a ghost weakness, other than Mandibuzz, Scrafty, and Incineroar, and definitely Bug. So I was looking at that, and then against my it's just gonna be a hard matchup. Not trying to say too much. I'm gonna go in more depth in my video, but yeah, he did a good job drafting this team. I definitely want to watch that video that he put up yesterday too. Be sure to
I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link to it.
A strong team with that G-Max Resonance, setting up the Aurora Veil, kind of like Brandon's strategy. A lot of let's say he set up Aurora Veil, goes into Haxorus, sets up a Dragon Dance. How are you gonna stop that? So it's definitely something to look out for. And he got the strong pick with Mandibuzz. You see a lot of that on singles.
Mandibuzz is crazy bulky. That mon could survive super effective hits like it's nothing sometimes. That mon is crazy bulky.
Yeah. And then with the Roost, it could stall you out a little bit. Sometimes.
Yes,
Rock.
I had made a buzz in my PWD team. It's in bulk. I mean, it's extremely useful. It's got overcoat so that it won't take that ice-based damage from the hail and can defog, whirlwind, tailwind, all those flying utility moves. It's got access to every one of them almost, like all the good.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to battling him.
Have you guys set up your date yet of when you're gonna battle?
No, because I'm still getting my team together. Even now, doing a little breeding.
Right.
But I'll be sure to get it done this week. Maybe Friday, since quarantine. We're all off.
That's a fact. So like I said, this video I'm aiming to have it up by Wednesday. So I'm pretty sure people's gonna see it before. So of course we were smart enough not to give out any strategies, but what we did here, we just gave a little in-depth analysis of what we seen for the teams, what we think the K will love, and things of that nature. But that's gonna conclude our draft analysis video for today. Like I said, I have Actually Among Us here with me and Bishme. If you guys want to shout your channel out one more time, go ahead, guys.
All right. Check me out on Twitch and and also on YouTube for where I'll be uploading like recorded content, like my draft battle videos, various other things. But every Friday night I'm on Twitch with live. It's been pretty fun. Everybody comes out and just check it out.
Yeah, I could definitely vouch for him. I'm sorry, Bishme. Let me just get this out.
I
could definitely vouch. I do go to Actually Among Us's Twitch streams frequently. They are a good time. They're definitely a good time. Most of the time he does stream late, so I know a lot of the times when I get offline, you guys be like, no, don't go, stay on. But hey, when I get offline, if you guys want to hop into his stream on Twitch right after, definitely do so, because most of the time, by the time I get off, that's more so the time he'll be getting on. So if you, like I said, you want some more content after I go off, just swing by Actually Among Us. You're definitely gonna have a good, chances are I'm gonna be in that chat too, so come by, pull up, have a good time with us. Go ahead, Bish.
Yeah, definitely. I've hopped in a couple Brandon streams if I'm not working. Get a couple battles in. He got the double battle, single battle, multi battle. So yeah, definitely a good time. Like arts, but my channel, I'm still growing it. I just started up, doing YouTube battles from the PWD. I do a little bit of Smash competitive, but now with the quarantine, that's slow down. So other than that, I'll be uploading my draft analysis and so that's it. Check me out. I will be the streams, keep it head.
All right, well, thank you fellas for joining me on this draft analysis video. We're definitely gonna have a lot of fun this season, and I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah, you too, man. Looking forward.
All right, and to everyone that watched, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed the content, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.